There was a future you built in your mind. You could see it so clearly. The two of you, older, sitting together on a quiet evening. Maybe watching the sun go down. Maybe just being near each other in that easy, comfortable silence that only comes after years of shared life. You could see their face, older but still them. Still here. Still with you. And then, without warning, that future was erased. They left first. And you are still here, standing in a world that was supposed to include them. Every morning, you wake up and for just a moment, you forget. And then you remember. And the loss crashes over you again, as fresh as the first day. You were supposed to grow old together. That was the plan. That was the promise life seemed to make. But now you are growing older alone, and they are frozen in time, in your memory. In photographs that never change while you keep changing without them. And underneath the grief, there is a question that will not leave you alone. A question that follows you into the quiet moments, that wakes you at 3 in the morning, that sits beside you at the table where they used to sit. Why them? Why not me? If one of you had to go, why did it have to be them? Why are you the one left behind, carrying this weight, living in this world that feels half empty now? Why are you the one who has to figure out how to keep breathing, keep moving, keep existing in a reality that no longer makes sense? And the hardest question of all, the one you might be afraid to even think, was their death random? Was it just biology, just chance, just the cruel randomness of a universe that does not care who stays and who goes? Or was there a reason? You have probably heard all the usual things people say. You have heard them at the funeral, in sympathy cards, from well-meaning friends who did not know what else to offer. And maybe those words landed like stones, cold, hard, useless. God needed another angel. Everything happens for a reason. It was just their time. They are in a better place now. These phrases might have made you angry, or numb, or both, because they do not touch the real pain. They do not answer the real questions. They feel like polite ways to avoid the truth, which is that you have been left here, alone, to carry something that feels too heavy to carry. You do not need another angel story. You do not need to be told that everything happens for a reason when you cannot see any reason that makes sense. You do not need spiritual platitudes that sound nice but feel empty. What you need is the truth. The real truth. Not the easy version. Not the version that makes other people comfortable. The version that actually explains what happened and why you feel the way you do. And that truth exists. It has always existed. But it has been buried under centuries of misunderstanding, cultural stories, and religious ideas that were never quite complete. The truth is not about angels or divine plans handed down from above. It is not about punishment or reward. It is not about randomness either. The truth is about souls. About agreements made before you were born. About purposes so deep and so sacred that your human mind was never meant to fully remember them, because if you did, you could not live them out. Edgar Cayce spent his life in a very unusual state. In deep trance, he accessed something that most people cannot reach. Not his own thoughts, not his own beliefs. Something older, something that knew more. And over thousands of readings for thousands of people, a picture began to form. A picture of how life and death really work. How souls choose their paths. How relationships are not accidents. And how the timing of death is never, ever random. What Cayce saw, again and again, was this. Your loved one did not just die before you. They completed something with you. Something that required them to leave first. Something that required you to stay. You are not here by accident. And they are not gone by accident. What happened between you was designed. Not by fate. Not by a distant God. By you. By them. Together. Before either of you took your first breath in this life. It sounds impossible, does it not? that you would choose this pain, that they would choose to leave, that anyone would willingly agree to separation, grief, and loss. But the soul does not think the way the human mind thinks. The soul is not afraid of pain. It is not afraid of death. It is not afraid of time or distance or separation, because the soul knows something your human self has forgotten. It knows that nothing real can ever be lost. It knows that love does not end when the body stops. It knows that every experience, no matter how painful, serves a purpose that runs deeper than comfort. And before you were born, before you became this version of yourself with this name and this life, you were somewhere else, somewhere outside of time. And so were they. And in that place, you both looked at the life ahead. You saw the shape of it, the lessons, the challenges, the growth. And you saw something else. You saw that one of you would need to leave early. Not because of punishment, not because of failure, but because some kinds of growth can only happen through loss. Some awakenings can only happen when everything you thought you needed is taken away. And in that moment, before memory, before birth, before the veil of forgetting fell over both of you, they said something to you, I will leave first. And you, knowing what that would mean, knowing the pain it would bring, said something back, I will stay. Your human self does not remember. Of course it does not. If you remembered, you could not live it. You could not feel it fully. You could not grow the way you came here to grow. But your soul remembers. And somewhere deep inside, beneath the grief, beneath the anger, beneath the exhaustion, there's a part of you that knows. This was not random. This was not a mistake. This was the agreement. There are many reasons why a soul chooses to leave before another. Not just one. Not a single answer that fits every story. But there are patterns. There are purposes. And when you begin to see them, the pain does not disappear, but it begins to make sense in a way it never did before. The first reason is activation. Your loved one left in order to wake something up inside you that was asleep. Something that would never have emerged if they had stayed. Gifts, strength, awareness, a version of yourself that you did not even know existed. For many people, life before loss felt safe, predictable. You knew who you were. You knew your role. And then they died, and everything shattered. And in the space where they used to be, you discovered parts of yourself you never had to use before. Maybe you found courage you did not know you had. Maybe you found independence. Maybe you found your voice, your creativity, your purpose. Maybe you became someone who helps others, because you understand their pain in a way no one else can. These things were always inside you. But they were dormant, hidden, waiting, and their leaving was the earthquake that cracked you open. The second reason is liberation. Sometimes a relationship, even a loving one, holds both people in a certain shape, a certain pattern, and one soul knows that the other will never break, free unless the pattern is broken. This does not mean the relationship was bad. It means it was complete. They gave you everything they came to give. And the next part of your journey required you to stand alone, to become yourself fully, without leaning on anyone. This is one of the hardest truths to accept, because it feels like abandonment. But from the soul's perspective, it is the opposite. It is trust. They trusted you enough to leave. They knew you were strong enough to continue without them. The third reason is teaching. Some lessons take lifetimes to learn, but some lessons can be delivered in a single moment of loss. A moment so powerful that it rewrites everything you thought you knew. Maybe the lesson was about impermanence, about the fragility of life and the importance of presence. Maybe it was about forgiveness, about letting go of old wounds before it is too late. Maybe it was about love itself, about how it does not require a body to exist, about how it continues, even when everything else falls away. They became your teacher by leaving. And the teaching will stay with you for the rest of your life, The fourth reason is karmic balance. Cayce spoke often about reincarnation, about souls returning again and again, playing different roles. Sometimes a soul leaves early because in another life, in another time, you left them. Not as punishment, not as revenge, but as balance, as a way to experience both sides, to understand both the pain of being left and the sacrifice of leaving. You may never consciously remember that other life, but your soul does. And this experience, as painful as it is completing something that began long before this lifetime. The fifth reason is the most mystical, and for many, the most comforting. Sometimes a soul leaves early in order to become a bridge, a guide, a presence on the other side that can help you from a place your human companions cannot reach. They are no longer limited by a body, no longer distracted by physical needs or fears. They can see more clearly now. They can work with you in ways they never could before. Through dreams, through signs, through the sudden knowing that comes in moments of stillness. They did not leave you. They relocated. And from where they are now, they can offer something deeper than any conversation you had when they were here. Not every loss fits neatly into one of these reasons. Sometimes it is a combination. Sometimes the purpose is something so personal, so specific to your soul's journey, that no one else could ever name it for you. But the pattern is always the same. Their leaving first was not an accident. It was part of the design, part of the agreement you both made before this life began. And here is the part that might surprise you. You staying behind was not the easier role. It was the harder one. Dying is a release. It is a return. It is going home to a place the soul has always known. But staying, continuing to live in a world that now feels broken, that is the advanced work. You are not here because you are weaker. You are here because you are stronger. Strong enough to carry the grief. Strong enough to keep going even when part of you wants to stop. Strong enough to transform the pain into something meaningful. The ones who leave early graduate. But the ones who stay are the ones doing the postgraduate work. You are still here because your assignment is not finished. Because there is something you came to do, to learn, to become. That requires more time. And that brings us to the hardest and most sacred part of this truth. Grief itself is not a mistake. It is not something to fix or rush through or overcome as quickly as possible. Grief is a tool, a force, a kind of spiritual technology that does something most people never realized. It thins the veil. When you cry, when you ache, when you reach out into the emptiness where they used to be, you are doing something far more powerful than suffering. You are stretching. You are expanding. You are becoming capable of perceiving realities that you could not perceive before. Most people live their entire lives inside the small circle of the physical world. What they can see, touch, measure. But grief cracks that circle open. It forces you to feel beyond the body, to sense beyond the visible, to know in ways that have nothing to do with proof. Every tear is not just sadness. It is permeability. Every moment of longing is not just pain. It is reaching. You are being stretched into a wider version of yourself. A version that can hold more, feel more, understand more. This is not a malfunction. This is initiation. And here is something you may not have considered. They did not leave you because you were weak. They left you because you were strong enough to survive it. Think about that. Really think about it. If they had a choice, and Cayce's work suggests they did, would they have chosen someone fragile? Someone who would collapse and never recover? No. They chose you because somewhere, at the soul level, they knew you could carry this. It does not feel like strength. It feels like breaking. But breaking open is not the same as breaking apart. You are being cracked open so that more light can get in. More truth. More life. They trusted you with this. That is how much they loved you, and right now in this very moment, they are not gone. They are not silent. They are not lost in some distant, unreachable place. They are closer than you think, learning, growing, working on ways to reach you. Death does not end consciousness. It shifts it. They are more awake now than they ever were in the body. More aware, more free. And they are trying to communicate with you in the only ways they can, through dreams that feel more real than waking life, through signs that appear in exactly the right moment, through the sudden sense of their presence when you are alone, through the thoughts that drop into your mind that do not sound like your own voice. They are learning how to reach across the veil. And you, whether you realize it or not, are learning how to listen. But here is the condition. They can only help you if you keep living. If you stop. If you freeze in grief. If you turn away from life and toward the past, you trap both of you. You lock them into your sorrow. You hold them back from their own growth. And you hold yourself back from yours. Their leaving was meant to propel you forward, not stop you. And every step you take into your own life, every moment you choose healing over despair, every time you let yourself feel joy without guilt, you free them. And you free yourself. Now, let us talk about timing. Because this is one of the questions that haunts people the most. Why did they die at that exact moment? Why not sooner? Why not later? Why not after the wedding, after the baby was born, after you had one more year together? The timing was not random. It never is. Death arrives at the moment of greatest transformation. Not comfort. Transformation. Look back at your life at the time they died. What was beginning? What was ending? What were you resisting? What was trying to emerge? Often, death comes right at the edge of a major shift. Right before you were about to step into something new. Right when you were about to change in a way that required you to be alone. The timing was calibrated. It was precise. It was designed to move you, to push you, to crack you open at exactly the moment when you were ready. Even if you did not feel ready. And if there were things left unsaid between you. If there were arguments, misunderstandings, moments you wish you could take back, hear this. There is no unfinished business between souls. Your human relationship may have felt incomplete, but your soul relationship is whole. They knew everything you wanted to say. They felt everything you wanted them to feel. The words you think you missed do not matter to them the way they matter to you. And if the last interaction was painful, if you fought, if you parted in anger, that was not a mistake either. Sometimes the soul creates distance right before departure to make the leaving easier. Not because the love was gone, but because the love was so strong that a gentle goodbye would have been unbearable. They may have picked a fight to give themselves permission to go. Not consciously, but at the soul level, they knew. And they made it easier for themselves the only way they could. Your relationship did not end. It evolved. It moved from one form to another, from physical to spiritual, from limited to expanded, from conditional to eternal. You are not mourning an ending. You are adjusting to a transformation. And here's the question you may not have asked yet, but it is waiting for you. What are you supposed to do with the rest of your life? Why are you still here? What is your assignment? The answer is different for everyone, but the shape is the same. You are here to live what they cannot. You are here to experience, create, love, grow, explore, in ways that are no longer available to them in physical form. Maybe you are here to raise children they will never meet. Maybe you are here to create something that will outlast you. Maybe you are here to help other people who are walking the same dark road you walked. Maybe you are here to finally, for the first time, discover who you are when you are not defined by that relationship. This does not mean you forget them. It means you honor them by becoming fully alive. And one day, not in the distant, unknowable future, but one day, that is as certain as the ground beneath your feet, you will see them again. Not as a hope, not as a belief, as a fact. Reunion is not a maybe. It is a guarantee. But when you meet again, it will not be the same. It will be better. Because you will meet without fear, without ego, without the small human misunderstandings that cloud love in physical form. You will meet as the fullness of what you both are. And the love you feel then will make everything you felt here seem like a pale shadow. But until that day, you have work to do. They left so you could do it. And every day you live fully, every day you choose meaning over despair. Every day you allow yourself to grow and change and become. You are completing the mission you both agreed to. Their death was not the end of their love for you. It was the final, most powerful expression of it. They loved you enough to leave. They loved you enough to break your heart. They loved you enough to trust you with the hardest role. The role of the one who stays. And from where they are now, they are watching. Not in judgment, in support, in pride. And they are trying to tell you something. They are trying to say it in every sign, every dream, every quiet moment when you feel them near. Move forward. Do not wait for permission. Do not carry guilt. Do not believe that your joy is a betrayal. Your joy is their success. Your healing is their freedom. Your full, rich, meaningful life is the proof that their leaving was not in vain. They do not want you frozen in grief. They want you awake, alive, becoming everything you came here to become. And when the sadness comes, because it will keep coming in waves for as long as you live, do not fight it. Let it move through you. Let it do its work. Because that sadness is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is right. It is a sign that love is still alive, still flowing, still connecting you across the veil. Grief does not mean you are broken. It means you are open. And being open is the most courageous thing you can do. You are not a victim of loss. You are a participant in a sacred agreement. An agreement that was made in love, carried out in trust, and is still unfolding even now. They chose you. You chose them. And together, you chose this. Not because it would be easy, but because it would transform you in ways nothing else could. This is not a tragedy. This is a mission. And you are right in the middle of it. So if you are reading this, if you are hearing this, if some part of you has been waiting for permission to stop feeling guilty, to stop feeling broken, to stop wondering if you did something wrong, here it is. You did nothing wrong. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. And they are not disappointed. They are not distant. They are not gone. They are right here. In every moment you choose love over fear, life over death, meaning over emptiness. You are carrying the contract forward. You are living for both of you now. And every breath you take, every step you take, every time you let yourself feel something other than pain, you honor the agreement you made before you were born. This was not abandonment. This was assignment. And you are strong enough to complete it. So live, fully, deeply, without apology. Live the life they can no longer live in body, but are living through you in spirit. Let your joy be their continuation. Let your healing be their message. Let your strength be the proof that love does not end when the body does. They left first. But they are still with you. And they will be with you until the moment you cross over and meet them again. And when that moment comes, when you finally see them again, whole and shining and free, they will say the same thing they have been trying to say all along. Thank you. Thank you for staying. Thank you for carrying what I could not carry. Thank you for living when I could not. Thank you for becoming who you were always meant to be. And in that moment, you will understand, fully, completely, and the grief. All of it, every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of aching loneliness will finally make sense. Not because it will disappear, but because you will see what it built, who it made you, and how it was always, always a kind of love.